to go through it and just the basics of the course. It's designed to be 16 hours. Often it takes longer than that. So we have some people it's taken 90 days to do it. And so um, that course actually uh, can also be done in person, or we do a hybrid version. So you do it online. It's self-paced, 16 hours, and at the end of it, we give you an $150 stipend. So if you sign up today, might be able to pay a phone bill or a cable bill or a deposit or whatever you need it for. So and there is a trajectory. So you heard this morning with Rashima. The first entrance into working with NCH is typically the Speakers Bureau. A lot of people in this room right now are Speakers Bureau members that have gone on to do other stuff. Albert is now in charge of lived experience at the National Alliance to End Homelessness. Really prestigious opinion, but he started out as a speaker. We have Don Gardner, who started out as a speaker and now is a HUD TA person. So typically you enter doing the Speakers Bureau and you move on to these other things. Rachel has also done TA. So is Jeffrey Bingham. Have all done TA. In our TA project, we actually pay people $135 an hour. And some people have actually been able to buy homes doing that project alone. I'm not guaranteeing that you would do that, but um, HUD actually has pushed back a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna go back over here so the people can see me. And so that project again, we are very grateful to have the project, and I'll go back to where I was. So that's a little bit more about the curriculum. You actually get a certificate. People have used that certificate to get employment as well. One of our graduates actually is the director of the entire COC program in their community. So people have gone on to a lot of different things from it. And so you can register online by this website. You can also call, you can use the LETA at National Homeless, or just go to our website and get to LETA, or you also can call this number and a live human being will actually answer that. So I think for this presentation, that is all of what LETA talks about. But while we're here today is I wanted to hear from some of the people who have gone through LETA. I keep doing that. And what I want from you today is to talk about what else we need to do. So right now we have two things that we're in the planning processes for. One is a peer support academy, and this came from my work in a different place in Orlando, Florida. I was able to house the 400 hardest to serve in that community. These were people who had been homeless 20 and 30 years. And after 2 years, they were all still housed. And the most important component of that was our peer support. So our peer support was homeless peer support. So it wasn't mental health peer support or substance abuse. It was peer support designed to help people through housing issues. There is a lot of peer support certification across the country. There is no peer support certification for homelessness. And so we are in the process of developing a course that would provide peer support. I want to hear from you to tell me if that's a good idea. There is right now also peer support services, not peer support services, but case management services in Washington, D.C. So there is a case management institute in D.C. run through Howard University. They actually are training people with lived experience to become case managers in Washington, D.C. That's a little bit longer course. That is actually a full course at Howard University. Their entire social work department partners in actually teaching that course. We want to bring that to scale. Is that something you need in your community? So those are the things we'll be talking about today. and hopefully getting your input on. This is actually designed to be very interactive. First, and we want to first answer questions about LETA. We also want those who have gone through LETA to tell people in the room about the impact, about how it's helped you change your life, how it's helped you improve your advocacy. And then if there are questions specifically about LETA, we'll answer that too. So I'm gonna call on a couple of people, and I want them to tell you a little bit about their experience with LETA and how it's helped them in their work. So Jeffrey Bingham, I know you went through both the online and in-person course. You were part of our trial um, cohort for LETA. Can you talk a little bit about it?
So many people had put the groundwork down. And I was invited to be a part of the first session to discuss and also go through the program. And going through the program itself, it really gave me the confidence to start my advocacy work and joining the ranks of those who are actually out there speaking, especially when it came to organizing and how to reach out to others and also protecting yourself from your personal trauma and how to move forward in sharing your story.
And Jeffrey, if you were designing the next steps for LETA, what would that look like? So what else do you think you could use to inform your journey?
Good question, Donald. We kind of went over some of these things when we went through the trial session. I would love to see maybe a little bit more in regards to the ability to present your story as far as maybe some more speech training, how to put your story together, and how to put your story together for the audience that you're speaking with at that particular time.
Okay. Another person I know, two more people, I just want to get their thoughts about it. Rachel, can you tell us, about your experience, how that's helped you in your advocacy, and what would you like to see next?
Absolutely. And what it did was enlarged because I wrote curriculum for leader wellness and self care and was in the pilot program and actually took leader. It let me take everything that we had brainstormed together at the Lived Experience Training Academy and put it into the work that I do today, dealing with other individuals that I want to actually take the leader training. And we've actually been able to ask some people to take it online that are in the unhoused population. So they were really excited because it's empowering, but we have got to get them phones first. So, some people we heard about the academy and they were asking me about it, but they don't have the technology to actually take it. But I think the next steps would be, I agree with Jeffrey, bringing the human face to light, the people who helped write the curriculum, me, Jeffrey, and Don Gardner, involving us in some kind of way of the portions that we were able to add to. Me with wellness and self care, Dawn with communications. I'm not sure what parts you worked on, Jeffrey. And John Harrison, who actually worked on technology. I don't know if he's in this room. But yeah, I would just say bringing the speakers together, the human people that help create LETA, and then maybe and bring it together with the DHS Peer Case Management Institute because I am a DBA certified peer. But that's when I heard you talking about doing something for peers and people who lived the experience and doing it online, and then LETA was birthed.
Thank you. Don Gardner.
Yes, giving honor to God, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I learned a lot from Leader because what Leader did for me is put things into perspective when it comes to your literacy and the technology and what direction your life wants to go. A lot of times, those are returning citizens and those who are homeless don't have direction and they don't have focus. So the leader program gives you a chance to put yourself into what you want to do in life, where you want to go, and it has good direction. And the skill set the leader gives is very good because it has the history of homelessness. It gave us a chance, me a chance to share our ideas and to meet with other individuals just like ourselves on an educational level, not just so much in the shelter or in a tent, but had a chance to give a voice to lead others to be mentors to lead others to be leaders and those who are going on to jobs like myself. It helped me and allowed me to go on to do work with HUD through LETA and through the National Coalition. So I think it's very good that it's set up and that the academy needs to be outspoken. And the way we reach individuals is through each and every one of you organizations that are here as well. So I think peer mentorship is wonderful.
Okay,
Reach-
thank you very much, Don.
And
Thank you for that. So I want to hear from some of you, and if there are questions online, would love to get anybody's questions online. Please just raise your virtual hand. Um, but okay, this is a different computer. Okay, I am so confused what is going on here. But I see the online people right there too.
They can see you, but in order to speak, they have to go through approval.
Okay, yeah, that's what they have to do. Okay, so we're gonna keep going. Yeah, you just asked the questions for me. That should work. So I want to, okay,
Take it because that is the beginning.
sure. If you missed the beginning, you can go online to our website, www.nationalhomeless.org, or you can use the LETA website, and that's just LETA@nationalhomeless.org. Or you can call the phone number that you see on your screen, 202-462-4822, extension 712. And again, you can use your phone, you can use your computer, you can use a tablet, you can go to the library, you can go to whatever workshop room there is at your particular organization. So whatever you want to do to use it, it should be available because we use Bloom's technology, taxology, which says that you should be able to use any form to be able to get this learning. You had a question?
I have a question. So, in terms of the logistics of signing up, I'm thinking about the communities that I help support in Santa Barbara and in Oakland, California. They would be all over this. Is there a capacity, like X amount per session? Because what if my whole league wants to sign up? Would they be able to do that? Or what's the selection process look like? Because I would hate to promote this and then get barred because it's maxed out or we only do 5 a quarter. Or so in terms of the logistical piece.
There is no barrier to whoever wants to do it. Now, if you wanted us to come to you and do it live, we suggest that there be 25 people at a time. We do have an upcoming group in Atlanta that's 100, but we're going to do that in a couple of sessions. But so here's the other thing that I probably didn't explain as well. Nobody experiencing homelessness ever pays for LETA. So I get sponsorship from foundations, the NFL has sponsored us and other groups. So you not only do not pay for it, you actually get $150 after you finish. We do try to get agencies to pay for it. So if you're a part of an agency or a continuum, we do ask that you sponsor your particular group of people. Now, for those people who do have money, and you can use HUD training dollars, by the way. It's $400 per person, $250 for registration, and then we do want you to pay that stipend to people. But if you're an individual homeless person, you never pay for LETA, no matter where you're at in the country, no matter how long. There are no particulars around any individual that wants to do the program. I'll find the funding. That's the only thing I really do at NCH. I raise the money and then all of these guys spend it is what happens. So any other questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, James Lee. I'm out of Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm a social impact entrepreneur.
I was there last week, by the way.
Yeah, we got some issues in Charlotte. Although we #2 in banking, we got some issues.
Yes.
But my question to you is, what's the ultimate goal? Because my ultimate goal is to make what I do a profession.
Yes.
Make it a profession where, and I know you talked about TAs and that kind of journey from somebody being on the board of the COC to the opportunities awarded to you as you grow and get certified for different things, social justice, whatever that is. So is your ultimate goal to create space for this to be a profession where once you get a certificate, I can take the certificate to any organization that's working with addiction and homelessness and get hired as a consultant, quote unquote? Is that kind of like where you guys are directing your efforts to?
What I want to do is make sure that your dreams that were deferred get realized. So a lot of people, when they do programs based on your deficits. It might be your substance abuse or mental health. What we try to do is enhance your skills. So we work with you to move in the direction that you believe you should move in. So some people may want to do it as a profession, but the ultimate goal for me is to build a movement, to make sure that people experiencing homelessness come together to push back against all this stuff that's happening. Homelessness is different than any other group of people that you advocate for. So, homeless people can change at any time, right? So no matter what you look like as a homeless person, once you get housed, you're no longer homeless. And so what we find is that those who have been homeless want to move as far away from the trauma as possible. So when it comes to organizing homeless people, it's the hardest thing I've ever done because people don't want to identify with being homeless anymore. So part of LETA is to help you understand the history, how many people have given of themselves, blood, sweat, and tears to move this issue. People like Mitch Snyder and Michael Stoops, who have been in this movement since the late 70s. I'm young. I didn't get here till the 90s. That is pretty long too, isn't it? So I've been doing this for 30 years, but the idea is that we have to build a movement. When you see other issues happening on TV, and I am not, disparaging any other group of people. So when you see an issue that affects people that are disabled, you see thousands of people show up for rallies. When you see people who are of the LGBTQIA plus population, when there are threats to that population, they show up in droves. Even when we had the civil rights movement, children were on the street, men and women, people of color. We also had the faith-based community out there. When we have organized efforts around homelessness today, we get 20, 30, sometimes a couple of hundred people. When we did the rally against the Supreme Court, we had about 900 people there. There's over 5 million people, in my estimation, homeless in America. So 900 people is a smattering of an inkling of the number of people that should have been there saying that, yes, it is cruel and unusual if you take somebody and you jail them just because they can't afford a place to live. But we didn't get that. And I know that it's because this is slow work, it's molasses work. Building an organized group of people experiencing homelessness is going to take some time. So we wanted to do something that speeds that process up. So the more you hear about the history, the more you learn about leadership, the more inclined you are to be one of those leaders. And that's why we do this conference every year, because we want you talking to each other. We want you sharing ideas. We want to make this a movement that really can have an impact in this country, because that's the only way we're going to change it. You had a question?
Yeah, I had a question. My name is Belinda. I'm from Portland. And currently I'm involved with the COP, in which we are creating an event, which is kind of similar to some of the things that you're talking about. Like, we want to build a space for the houseless community to be able to come together, break bread, develop relationships, kind of like, weave like advocacy and your voice kind of thing around it, so that that people know that you have a voice, and that voice can go to, like, to the state, to the city. And these are the ways in which you can do that. So we want to empower people, right? And so just thinking about that, I'm thinking about this, and if this was something that some of our people in Portland would like to do. I mean, I think like this would be the ultimate empowerment for people that are houseless. What does that look like as far as what would they need to sign up? I guess like they're going to need a computer though, right? They're going to need something.
They can actually do it on their phone. It's
Okay.
obviously not as easy to do it on your phone,
Right.
but as long as a person has a phone, they can do it. And the other option is some of the free locations that people can do their work on. We know that libraries in most of the country are de facto homeless shelters during the day, right?
Yeah.
So you typically can get on a public computer at a library,
Mhm.
and people just do it in small bites. They don't have to do all 16 hours at one setting. They can do it in small bites, and there's no time limit for us. I mean,
Okay.
obviously, we don't want you to have access to it for the next 3 years or something.
Right.
And we do kind of clean the database every once in a while, but we give people ample amount of time to finish it because we
Okay.
know it can be complicated, and we know that you're not in control in a shelter of your own life.
Yeah.
So you have to adhere to whatever the rules are in that shelter.
Okay. So then, like, there's a session that's like always ongoing. Is it interactual or is it video?
So
Both.
there's three different versions. This is online, so it's asynchronous. Everything about it is online. So you go online, you sign up, you do it at your own pace. There is a version that's a hybrid version where we have somebody help guide you through the process. They come on in the beginning, they're there to encourage you in the middle, and then they're there to take you to the end. And then there's the in-person. So the in-person usually is something a organization or a city would pay for. So again, we've been to New Jersey, we've been to Arkansas, we've been to a number of other cities. We've done Washington, D.C. Somebody actually sponsors that particular that particular setting. So we'll go out, and right now, although we just did a train the trainer, and we'll be doing more of that. Dr. Rajni Shankar Brown and I go out and we spend 4 days in the community teaching the same or equipping people with the same principles that are online. So they can do it either one of those ways. And people start when they want to and they finish when they want to. So we keep it as open as possible. But we do want to know how we can make this better, how we can make it easy for people. What are other issues that people want to talk about? This is your chance. And I guarantee you, I will do my absolute best to raise the money needed to do whatever you tell me I need to do. And that's the difference about NTH. We actually get our direction from people with lived experience. So your ideas don't go on a piece of paper and never get heard from again. We actually take what you say and we develop it into programs and policy.
Hello, my name is Rachel Parker. I'm the Training and Lived Experience Director for Reimagine Omaha. Our organization was founded solely on frontline lived experience voice within our communities. I'm also the Executive Director of Red Sky Nation out of Sioux City, Iowa. We focus on MMIR, MMIW, and MMIP within Indigenous communities. That's murdered and missing Indigenous people, women, and relatives. My question for you is, in terms of your training development, how many of your folks that are developing these trainings are lived experience? No disrespect to you and your experience of being 30 years plus.
Which
How many of
valuable
your
as well.
how many of your folks are at the table developing the trainings with you? Because I'm going to ask that. Our program has been all of our training programs. We very similar model, love it. But all of our training programs have our lived experience experts at the table in the development of it. And we are currently cross-sectionalizing over to the health systems. We have a contract with a very big hospital in our community. And we've also just cross-sectionalized into law enforcement.
Awesome.
So I just want to know how
That's a great question.
Lived
Let me try
is
to
at the
do that.
table.
Let me try to do that by a percentage instead of by the number of people. It would be 100%. Everybody that developed this program was a person with lived experience. That was one of the things we insisted. In fact, you guys may not know this, but 100% of our staff are people with lived experience. So we fully believe in our first principle of practice is that people with lived experience should be involved at all levels. So our board is 40%, we're working on that, but our staff is 100%. And this particular program, everybody involved in the development was somebody with lived experience.
I just wanted to say, as a person who actually wrote curriculum in the Lived Experience Training Academy, which we're looking at now, Roderick is great, but if we had someone who was able to keep tabs on the people more, because people will say, "Oh, I only got halfway through and I don't remember where I'm at." And maybe I'm not saying have it structured where there is a time frame or a structured time to complete. Maybe give them 6 months, because people are like losing track. They're surviving in the street and they're losing track of where they are in the Lived Experience Training Academy. So maybe if we had somebody touching base with each individual who was registered to do it.
Awesome. His full-time job is to touch base with people. So he's another person who used to work at NASA, but he also has a lived experience. He does, his best, but you think about it, he's doing all over the entire country. So he's trying to keep up with people as best he can, but it's really complicated to go through an online course and be able to monitor exactly where someone is. But I'll tell him you said it. And he's online right now. He says that he does the best he can. Is what he said. I'm just kidding. He's not alone. So yeah. But we'll ask him. He actually may be listening. Did I have another question? I have an online question and we'll come back to you.
So someone online actually, Alan Hooper said that he saw on the registration form that we can request sponsorship. How does that work?
So I do the sponsorship myself. So I'm not asking you to request the sponsorship. What I do is I go out once a community says that they want to do LETA. I go to that community and find a sponsor to cover the cost. We do have some national sponsors too. Like I said, the NFL, the Melville Foundation has sponsored spots, and the Oak Foundation. So we right now have resources to cover anybody that wants to do it, but I'm always looking for other people that are willing to do it. I think it's incredibly important. So we had, okay, and then RD in the back had a question.
So my name is Alicia. I'm actually on NCH's Speakers Bureau, as well as I work in the Chicagoland area combating.
You were like Miss Chicago, weren't you?
Yes, Donald, that's me.
Yes, Miss Teen Chicago. Give her a hand. She's Miss Teen Chicago.
But yeah, my first run-in with NCH was actually in April in Washington, D.C. at the Capitol. You might have saw me there in a crown and sash, but that's neither here nor there. My question is, I was formerly homeless in California, and one of my biggest things that kind of pushed me to start combating homelessness was the lack of trainings like this one. But more importantly, that our case managers wanted us to do job applications and all this stuff, but we did not have an active working computer lab in that shelter. Like there was a room dedicated for it, but no one put the time in or the money in to say, like, this is what people need. Like, if you want them to do these trainings, you want them to get these job programs up and running, like, that's kind of like a baseline. So I just wanted to ask you, from a developer standpoint, if you were going into a shelter or something like that where they do not have the capacity to offer a training like this to their residents, what is like the first step that you would take to say, like, hey, this is important? Like, what is your pitch line for that? I guess is my question.
My first pitch line would be that it is inconceivable that any shelter does not have access to computers. And the reason I say that is because there are so many places you can get free computers. Sometimes they're old and a little clunky, but the government in any state has free access or low cost access to excess materials. So if you go on the website for your state government, you'll see computers, you'll see vehicles even on there that they're trying to get rid of. Sometimes they're like wrecked vehicles. Sometimes the computer is outdated, but you can get as much free software and hardware as you want. The other thing is if you put that on your website as a part of the donations from your shelter, I guarantee you people will donate it to you. There's a lot of programs like in Cincinnati has a program that provides resources for kids that are in the school system, and they provide free computers to people. So no, I don't believe that any shelter in the country should not have the ability to provide those kind of resources, even if it's only 2 or 3 computers. I think it's unconscionable that a shelter doesn't take that step. Because it's not about just having a warehouse for people. It's about having the resources for people to move on and never have to look back again. When I had my shelter in Orlando, it was 800 people in that shelter. We had a training course every hour of the day. We had volunteers. We had job fairs. We had everything that we thought people could use to be able to get out. And our housing first was different. The first day you got there, there was a plan for your housing. And sometimes it was PSH, sometimes it was rental housing, sometimes it was a trailer. But we made sure that you were able to get a housing resource by the time you leave. This is emergency shelter. We had a 70% placement rate. So I know it can be done. I've done it. But we had a computer lab with 16 computers. They were all donated. And if it doesn't work to go to your state, there's all kinds of programs from Microsoft, IBM. Magic Johnson gives out computers. Now, sparingly, you got to write to them and you got to write a really good grant. A lot of good grant writers out there, but there's all kinds of foundations that support education for people that are homeless. I know there's a long answer, but okay, there's one. We'll go one in the back and then we'll go online.
Donald, my name is R.D. Plachère, and I'm new to y'all because I'm currently volunteering with one of your with a membership committee. But I am here and excited for this. My question has to do with, are you actually having or any known issues with users trying to get into LETA? Because I've just brought it up on a laptop again, and I've tried for a year and a half on a desktop, on phones, and no matter what I do, I can't seem to get through on it. Now, I'm not advocating for me right now. I'm, of course, going to try again and get a hold of the
So
phone.
I would
But are you folks aware of issues like that?
We haven't had, I mean, I haven't heard of issues getting on it. Now, we are right now working on our website. So it could be a issue of just the website not being up right now, but a year. Did you contact Roderick Woodruff? So if you go to the site, Roderick's number and the email to Lita is to him. He's a wizard. He's a security expert on computers. He can get you in there. I guarantee you. I'm sorry it's taken that long because I've heard of people having problems before. Sometimes there's a compatibility issue. Sometimes there's a firewall on your computer, but he'll work you through any of that. So reach out to R. Woodruff at nationalhomeless.org or just go to LETA at nationalhomeless.org. And if he doesn't fix it for you, just get back to me. You should have my email. You did focus groups for us, right? Okay, so
Is a very important project, and I know of hundreds of peers that can make use of it. And if we can't get them in, then they'll go away. I'm just a
yeah,
persistent
we've
cuss.
gotten 400 in and finished, so I'm sure there's something else that might be specific to your computer that we need to work through. So I'm going to go back to that page again. Yeah.
Well, the email is actually Lita at
nationalhomeless.org. Yeah, no, it should be .org. This is actually wrong. It should be .org, right? So
Sorry, we will update.
actually, I just went to it and it went right to it. I just clicked on it and went right to it. It might be .org. Okay, okay. Yes.
Um, so Anissa Mustafa.
Yes. Hi. How are you guys doing? So I have a question. It's kind of just like going back to what you said about the like turnout for like advocacy and rallies and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I put the
So I do want to asked this question on behalf of Anissa Mustafa online. She mentioned that even when housed individuals are still in the system and struggling to meet basic needs and trying to become stable in the different domains of their lives, it is hard to be engaged in meaningful advocacy and attend rallies when you are in survival mode. How can activists and advocacy organizations get more movement and engagement by supporting individuals to participate?
Great question. When we did the rally at the Supreme Court, we actually paid for buses and paid for meals for people to get here. Obviously, can't do that all the time, but I think you have to use your own sphere of influence. Sometimes that doesn't mean going to a rally or showing up at City Hall. It may be just sitting at your computer writing a letter. It may be using whatever group that you go to. It could be your church. It could be a civic organization or a lodge, whatever you belong to. Share this kind of information at that particular place. So advocacy doesn't have to be this big super thing. It's people getting involved and changing at the level they have the ability to change. So Uh, you may not be able to afford to get to the lived experience leadership conference on your own, but you can apply for a scholarship, and that's what we do. This conference, half of the people here we pay for to get here, and it takes a lot. I'm going to tell you, I'm on the phone 24/7 raising for that. When we have the ability, that's why we do all kinds of different things. So we pay people. We believe that everything you do for us is giving of yourself and you should be compensated. So if you do a survey, we pay you for that. If you get involved in our speakers bureau, you get paid for the speakers bureau. That's like $100. You do about 20 minutes of your time. We pay for our TA. We pay if you do LETA. So we do our part, but we know that we certainly can't cover all 5 million people in the United States to do that. So you have to start to build, as she said at lunch today, your own organizations. And when you build your own organization, you have to build in the idea of being able to get people to be involved in advocacy. And that may be raising money for a bus, or getting bus passes or bus tickets, or allowing people to come to your space and use your computer. So you have to be creative, you have to be vigilant, and you have to be inspired to help other people. And that's the other thing you can do. You can make sure that another person gets to that meeting, by buying an extra bus card. I do what's called random acts of kindness. I didn't invent that word, but I do that every week. So some weeks I have a pair of socks in the car. Other weeks I have McDonald's gift cards. And the first person I see, I give them something. And sometimes it's more than that one person. You can't do everybody in NC or you be in DC or you be completely broke. But every time I see somebody the first time of the week, I have something there for them. Sometimes it's a pair of shoes. Sometimes it's the coat off my back. But you have to do what you can to make change. Not everybody was on the podium at the civil rights movement. A lot of people were behind the scenes during stuff. So sometimes you got to be behind the scenes. Sometimes you got to be out front. You do it to the tip of your ability, whatever that may be. And I mean that both financially, physically, and emotionally. Whatever you can give it to the extent you can. So.
Thank you. My question was in regards to the academy and the training.
Did you try?
Like the young lady was saying about some barriers she was experiencing as far as like getting access to computers. First of all, let me say my name is Tyra and I'm from Minneapolis. Um, so my question is, when considering offering the training, um, was there consideration around housed and unhoused, barriers for unhoused, folks who work that might want to be in the training? Has there been consideration around like what days of the week or maybe weekend training for folks who with lived experience. And again, that whole thing between housed and unhoused. Any barriers that you've seen or that you may have worked through to offer it to folks in different statuses of their life. Like I said, they could be working, they could be working through the week, and maybe they have the weekends off, or vice versa. And then again, unhoused folks, what does that look like? And has there been any experiences of barriers from taking this course?
Yeah, other than the technical glitches, remember we have three different delivery models. So when you're online and you're doing a course, you do it whenever you have time to do it. You know, regardless of what days you work or, you know, when you're at home, that's when you do it. Now, there may be some barriers at a shelter because those computer rooms may not be open 24/7, but that's why we have it so you can do it on your phone. We also have the in-person. So you just have to get your community to request us to come out and we'll do it to the extent we can. So we haven't had barriers in that way. Apparently there's a technical barrier for some people and we'll work on fixing that, but we are redoing our website as we speak. So there may be a couple of glitches there, but you should, I was able to get on and you said you were able to get on. So we'll have to see what that is. Sometimes like the different browser may prevent you from getting into stuff. Like if you have
Internet Explorer.
what's that browser that they use?
Explorer.
Yeah, if you have Firefox, you shouldn't be on the internet anyway. No, I was just kidding. Um if you have what's the other one that was way back?
Chrome.
Well, not Chrome, but there was one that people used to. Yeah, but there's a lot of bad ones that don't get you there anymore. So it may just be a compatibility issue, but we'll definitely check on it. And if you want to if you want to send me an email if you can't get on, I'll make sure you get personal attention. My email is dwitehead@nationalhomeless.org. Now we're working on that as well. You know, We're we're actually working on that. We're working on, so you'll hear tomorrow if you go to the workshop on reimagining shelter. We've been collecting bills of rights from cities across the country. We're going to do one nationally. And there's also a homeless bill of rights resolution that we're supporting in Congress right now. So Representative Tlaib, anybody from her community, she actually is doing Cori Bush is on our board of directors. You guys remember Cori Bush, formerly homeless congressperson? She introduced a resolution last year. Representative Tlaib has reintroduced it. So there is, and there's bills of rights in a number of different communities, but most of them don't have enough teeth. So we actually worked on, who was there anybody in here? I don't know. We worked on a Bill of Rights at HUD 3 years ago, but it's never been introduced. So we actually did a really good one.
Get out the business or get out the building.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes. That is what it is. She's not, that's not hyperbole what she just did. People don't want to be held accountable because if you have shelter regulations, you can't turn away people that are LGBTQIA. You can't turn away families. You can't turn away people with mental health or substance abuse. We want low barrier shelter. That's the only way we're going to get people off the street. And a lot of people don't want that. The group that's pushing to get rid of permanent supportive housing, they don't want low barrier shelters. They want to be able to decide who can come into their shelter. So we are working on that. Yeah.
In terms of you were asking what next or what's missing.
Yes,
What I'm seeing across the nation with a lot of LEABs or LECs or even YABs is within the governance charter, there's really not a well-developed professional development piece.
Yes.
Right. Like the people that I work with, they're like, well, can you like, I can't put this on my resume. Yes, you can. You can.
Yes.
These are transferable skill sets. So embedding some type of, okay, what does this look like in your resume? How can we create some type of economic mobility, right? Utilizing these boards and other aspects of the training. I think that that's a huge gap in a lot of these charters. So adding that professional development piece, I'm sure it's embedded, but making it explicit, like resume development, how to present yourself in an interview, right? All of that piece.
You're exactly right, but I'm not going to say that it is in LETA, not enough. I mean, we have some time on economic development, but I would say this entire sector, the homeless sector, has really missed the boat when it comes to poverty, because the underlying issues are housing. But if we can improve people's station in life through their income, then the housing doesn't even have to come down, because there is no shortage of housing at the next level. The shortage of housing, the 7 million units, are at the bottom of the economic ladder. So we got to improve people's income as well. Because minimum wage is not going to do it. Minimum wage, you can't afford housing anywhere in the country. You can't afford a 2 bedroom for sure, and only 10% of the country can you afford a 1 bedroom. So we have been doing a lot of work around poverty. We've tried to institute. The other thing that they do not recognize is guaranteed income. So guaranteed income works. When they do projects where they give people money, people use that money for the right things. Over and over again, we have the evidence. Um, in San Jose, California, they have a project at Destination Home that gives people, I think it's $1,400 when they're at risk of becoming homeless. 80% plus of them don't ever enter the shelter system. We know that millions of people were able to survive when jobs were lost during COVID by the stimulus package. Now, people may talk about, the state of the country when it comes to economics when the Biden administration was in place, but that stimulus package really helped us avoid a disaster. And we should be grateful for that. There are a lot of programs where they do guaranteed income for teens. They do baby bonds for moms, but adult homeless individuals, nothing. There's almost zero income projects. So we are working on a couple of things along those lines. Years ago, we had a program when welfare reform got cut, when welfare got cut, and there was welfare reform. We were able to get people hired as census enumerators, and they were paying $26+ an hour. We were this close to getting that done, and then there was that election, and they don't even answer the phone anymore. But we are working on economic development. We're working on a version of the Job Corps program for adults. And we're also working on a guaranteed income program. But this sector, people talk a lot about affordable housing and the need for everybody to be able to be in a house they afford, but you don't hear very much at all about the Department of Labor and economic conditions that need to change. So that's that's something we're going to focus on even more this year. And that to me, I was hoping somebody would say that, because I think we need more workforce development programs. We need more asset building programs. People need to just know how to navigate the general system, not even the homeless system. Resume writing. People need to be able to, we probably need some job coaching for people sometimes. But we don't, none of that exists right now. It used to in the original continuum of care, you could do job programs. I did one. I did a transportation program where people experiencing homelessness got to drive vans. And because transportation is another key. Do you know if you're a family and you have to navigate the system during the day, you have to take your kids to daycare, you have to go to a job maybe, then you have to get back to the shelter. Well, you got to pick up your kids first and then it's impossible to do that. So most people aren't able to get the job because they got to go through all this other stuff. Even if you're a man, I mean, I think about the drop-in center now. It's way out there by the railroad tracks. There's no buses coming down there. So how do people get from place to place? It's just, I mean, I don't know how our systems think that people can succeed, or is it that they don't want people to succeed? I don't know why we have cuts in Medicare, food stamps, housing, and people are being arrested for that. So my saying now is that you're not one paycheck away from homelessness anymore. You're one paycheck away from jail because they're arresting you because you're homeless. Right across the river in Kentucky, they don't just arrest you in Kentucky. Anybody from Kentucky? So Kentucky has a stand your ground law, right? For people experiencing homelessness. So in Kentucky, people can remove you from their property using force up to and including deadly force just because you're homeless. In Tennessee, it's a felony. So, it gets worse and worse every day. But that's why we need programs like LETA. And I know I gave you my email. You'll tell me other stuff that we can do. I think we're close to time.
We are at time. It's 5:04, but
Dinner's not till 6. We can keep going.
I mean, we have two
just-
questions in the chat.
Okay. Well, I'm going to answer 2 more questions.
Okay,
Uh,
they're in the chat though, because they've been asking for a while.
Hey, Jeff, can you stand by the door so nobody leaves? Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. No, go ahead.
So the first question is
Dinner's at
from
5:15? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I won't hold you up because I'm hungry.
So the first question from Neil Sindil is, would you be able to speak to movement building and organizing outcomes they attribute to LETA?
So again, we've had a number of, it really works well when we go on site. So one of the things that the group we trained on LETA in New Jersey did is they did a lot of, one of the things we talked about were voter rights. So they did a lot of, we have a program called the You Don't Need a Home to Vote campaign. And so they became involved in that. They registered people to vote. They worked on getting people out to vote. And I'm not going to say it was all LETA people, but you see what happened in New Jersey, right? When we exercise our power, we can change the world. We also did it in Washington, D.C., and Rachel is part of a group that we work with in D.C. And when the troops came to D.C., that was the group that was out on the street, making sure that people didn't get hurt during when their property was taken. They made sure that they had mutual aid in place. We were on a signal chat together. Most of those people in the chat were people that went through LETA. So those are the kind of organizing things that can happen. But I don't think anything's off the table once we get together and we mobilize and organize. Thank you for being here, and thank you for what you gave me. And you guys, couple of quick announcements. If you didn't get a water bottle in your packet, we now have new water bottles. They finally arrived, and I was supposed to tell you something else. There is karaoke. There is open mic tonight at 6 o'clock.
6:30.
It's at 6:30. I'm glad the door's here. It's at 6:30. If you want to come down and share your musical gift. If you don't have a musical gift, please don't come down. No, I'm just saying.
It's
But
right after dinner,
anything you
so
wanna
we'll
do,
catch
like,
you anyway.
if you want to do poetry or anything, express yourself, please come down. We'd love to have you. And I think that's it for announcements. But don't forget, if you didn't get a water bottle, please go get one. Thank you.
Thank you everyone on the virtual meeting for being here. We appreciate your patience as we started late, and we will see you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. I'm sorry.